What's going on, guys? It's the Devil's Arrow, and today we got something a little bit different going on. Right now, I got a tier list up, and today we're going to be doing a Naruto arc tier list. So I'm going to be going over really anime only. I haven't read the manga yet, so we're going to be going at each arc in Naruto, except for some of the Shinden stories, like Sasuke Shinden and Kakashi. I think Kakashi is the only one I'm going to be going with, Kakashi Gaiden. But yeah, so Sasuke Shinden's going. Haven't watched Shikamaru and the marriage story. I saw the final episode, but I don't really remember much from that story. So yeah, I think that's about it. Now let's start with the original content we actually have. And before we actually get started, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications. Now let's get into this. So starting off, I guess we can go in order. So we start with the Land of Waves. Now, the Land of Waves is going in S tier. To explain why I think it goes in S tier, honestly, it's one of the best introduction arcs in like all shonen, maybe even all manga. You got Zabuza, Haku, the introduction of like just the ninja world in general, the Sharingan, the Nine Tails, the rivalry with Naruto and Sasuke begins here, and it's really cool to see kind of the philosophy and situation that Haku and Zabuza are in, where they're they have a bond, but Zabuza kind of sees Haku as a tool, and Haku knows his place as being a tool, until you realize that Zabuza truly does care about Haku in the end. All of that was just really amazing. And also one of the really cool things, highlights, was like Sasuke's fake out death. When I first watched that scene, I honestly thought he was dead. I didn't know much about Sasuke later on, and I was just caught up in the moment. So overall, I think it's a great starting point, and I think it deserves to go in S tier. Now we go from the Land of Waves to the tuning exams. Tuning exams is also S tier. Now this does not count the latter half at the end, where you got like Naruto versus Gara and Sasuke versus Gara, like in the forest, or Orochimaru versus Hiruzen. That's the Konoha Crush arc. But I mean, Rock Lee versus Gara alone is one of the highlights of Naruto. I don't think very many fights can really top that. Now, there's some like Naruto versus Pain, but overall, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like Rock Lee was such an amazing character during that arc. Just like he could have been the protagonist of his very own story, and we all would have rooted for him just as much as Naruto. Just his drive and his dedication, even though he only knows taijutsu, and going up against an elite ninja like Gara and wanting to fight someone like Neji, a prodigy, was just really amazing. And Naruto was cool as well. This is where we get to meet Jiraiya. This is where Sasuke begins training with Kakashi, and he learns the Chidori. Gara and his story is amazing as well. We get the first bit of that here, and he's definitely like an S tier character. Really good. Sakura even gets development here. We're just going based off of Land of Waves. She's pretty terrible, but here, she does a little bit for herself. That fight with Ino wasn't really that good, but we got Hinata versus Neji, Rock Lee versus Gara, Naruto versus Kiba. Like the battle of the losers, kind of, in their grades. All really good stuff. Also, we get Shikamaru, probably top 3 favorite characters in the series, and his elaborate and genius level fights. So yeah, tuning exams, just based off the the story alone with Orochimaru and Rock Lee and all that stuff is amazing, but the fights as well, were handled perfectly. Now, next would be the Konoha Crush arc. That goes in A tier. Here we get really this part is just the fights, honestly. You get Orochimaru versus Hiruzen. That was a great fight that kind of established, the high level shinobi fights. We kind of got a little bit of that with Kakashi versus Zabuza in the Land of Waves. But here, I mean, we get the Hokage finally fighting for the first time. And we get glimpses of the first and second. Like kind of Orochimaru's peak until the Fourth Great Ninja War. And Hiruzen with the Reaper Death Seal, his clones, all the really elaborate and cool stuff we get here. Really amazing. And then on the other side, you got Naruto versus Gara. And this is where we really get into like the parallels between the two of them, how they're, two sides of the same coin. All really good stuff. I don't think there's really many flaws with this, but in terms of just excitement, I would say I put Land of Waves and Chunin Exams above it, and that's why I don't think it really hits that S tier. But it's definitely amazing and definitely deserves to go like it towards the top of A tier. Now, next on the list, I think, let's see, is it? Okay, yes, the Search for Tsunade arc. I'm gonna put this in B tier. It's not bad, and I definitely think it's better than like average. This is where we get the the introduction to Tsunade. This is where Naruto learns the Rasengan, and that's probably the hypest moment of this part is him using the Rasengan on Kabuto. And we get the three-way deadlock between the legendary Sannin, and that's a lot more established what's going on between the three of them. So, I mean, it was all cool, but I think Tsunade's backstory is probably the best part, aside from, like the Rasengan moment, because, seeing her in like such a traumatized, depressed state, where, she's lost everyone she's loved pretty much, and she's just kind of done being a shinobi, and has a very cynical outlook on the world, was really cool. And seeing Naruto kind of bring, the more positive and optimistic side out of her was amazing. Naruto like gets his necklace from her, where later on we establish that can control the Nine Tails a little bit, but it was all cool. I don't really think it just doesn't really hit those levels. Honestly, it's fun. It's pretty good. We get some good character development. We get a lot of bonding between Naruto and Jiraiya. That's also probably one of the best parts of this. And yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is also the introduction of Itachi and Kisame, because right before they go look for Tsunade, I mean, we get them showing up to the village, and just, I mean, Itachi's introduction is just completely badass. We get Kurenai, like, Kurenai decides to use Genjutsu on, like, the world's greatest Genjutsu user at the time, which is, I mean, a meme in itself, but, yeah, it was pretty good. Next up on the list we have, let's see, I believe next is, the Sasuke recovery mission. I'm putting this in A tier. Obviously, the highlight is Naruto versus Sasuke round 1. Top 5 best fights in the series. I mean, the emotion there is amazing. Just both sides. This is, I think, where we really get the full backstory on Sasuke. So you got that going as well. Just seeing like everything he's lost, and Naruto tries to talk to Sasuke and talk him down with his talking jutsu, but it doesn't work. And this time, I think it doesn't work because, as Sasuke says, Naruto doesn't really understand what it means to have something and lose it. Because at this point, Naruto just thinks he's an orphan and doesn't know his parents at all. So, like, he grew up alone, while Sasuke, had his brother, had his mother, had his father, had his entire clan, and then boom, one day they're just all killed, and he's all alone. So Naruto kind of comes from a perspective of talking down to Sasuke and kind of guilt tripping him and kind of coming back to the village, but Sasuke just isn't going to listen to that because Naruto truly doesn't understand. So that's really part of the reason why Sasuke couldn't even consider going back to the village. He was just so consumed with revenge, and Naruto couldn't understand his side yet. So before we get to like the start of Shippuden, I'll put Kakashi Gaiden in here. I think Kakashi Gaiden I'll give a B. It's also pretty good. You know, this is where we get Kakashi's backstory with Obito, Rin, where we get to see Minato. I believe it's the first time we ever get to see Minato in the anime. This is all really good stuff. Seeing the yellow flash of the leaf, you know, be a badass, and you know the Stone Village having a run on site order whenever he appears is absolutely amazing. Obito is a really good character. You know, you get the Naruto parallels there. Kakashi being a lot more guarded, I would say, and a lot more cynical because of, you know, the stuff that happened between him and his father. Makes a lot of sense, and it was really good seeing like their dynamic up until, you know, Obito's quote unquote death. Rin was fine. I mean, she was just there, I guess. Not much about her, really. So the reason why I have this in B tier is because, you know, it's good. We get like the whole those who who break the rules are scum. Those who, you know, like go against their friends are even worse than scum. So like that moment was probably one of the best, you know. Kakashi getting the Sharingan, all that was really cool, but I don't know, it just doesn't beat, you know, like Naruto versus Sasuke, Rock Lee versus Gara, you know, all that stuff. So I think next is Kazakh Rescue Mission. I'm gonna put this in C tier. Now, when I first watched the anime, you know, when you're first starting Naruto Shippuden, you're like, oh my god, this is awesome. You know, Naruto's a little bit old. Everyone's, not just Naruto, everyone's a little bit older. You know, you get the new intro, Heroes Come Back, which is probably one of my favorite openings in all of Naruto. And you get like Gaara's the Kazakage, Naruto's stronger, all this stuff. Sakura is actually useful now. That was all cool, and even like the introduction of more Akatsuki members like Deidara and Sasori, really cool. I love their dynamic. They're a really good, like, I know we saw Kisame and Itachi, but these two are like a really good introduction to the Akatsuki because, you know, they're not the most broken like Pain and Itachi, but their dynamic is really cool, and their abilities are awesome. I still love like Deidara's clay bombs, and Sasori like having like 100 puppets that can take over an entire country is just awesome. With the poison, and really, this is like Sakura's highlight of the series until the Ninja War. So just for the sake of like getting to see her in action and actually being a Akatsuki member, and yeah, I know she has help from Chiyo, but I mean, she was doing all the manpower really, and she concocted the antidote to save them from the poison. All that was really awesome. Gaara's death, like, really hit me. I honestly didn't think he was gonna die until, like, you know, boom, he died. But, you know, I mean, he came back. But I think this arc it's good, but going back and rewatching it, I don't know, it just doesn't. Actually, I might put this up in B tier. I don't think it's average. I think it's a little bit above average. Especially at the moment where Gara comes back and we see like the flashback between him and Naruto. That was awesome. Chiyo's death was pretty sad. So I think I'll leave this in B tier. I might move this around later. Let's see what's next. Next is the Tenchi Bridge arc. Oh, this goes in B tier. This is where Team 7 finally reunite with Sasuke, and he, by the good grace of Orochimaru, they don't get clapped by Sasuke, who's gonna use Kirin on them. But aside from that, this is where we get the introduction of Sai, Yamato, so like the new Team 7. And Sai, I'm thinking a lot about Sai as a character recently, and I think he's just okay. Like, if we had a tier list of Naruto characters, I'd probably put him in C tier. But his introduction was kind of cool, like having him replace Sasuke and even like mention that and get under Naruto's skin, which was it was a really interesting dynamic. And we find out he's like kind of shady when he's with Danzo. Naruto versus Orochimaru was also like really cool, seeing the Nine Tails like evolve further and go crazy. And even a moment I was hoping would happen, which is where he might attack like one of his teammates, and we see that with Sakura. That was all great. There's not too much else to say about this. I think it's just fine. Honestly, I think I might put this in C tier. Like, I think, actually, you know what? I'm putting this in B tier, and I'm gonna put Kazakh back down C tier. I think this is better and has higher highs, and I think the lows. I don't really know. It's just I think those two fights kind of make it a bit better, but yeah. Also, just seeing like Sasuke see Kurama and just shut him down inside Naruto was that being like the first scene you ever see in the anime, and then coming back to it later is just astounding, just really awesome. Next, let's see. What do I want to do next? Akatsuki Suppression Mission. This goes in C. Now, a lot of stuff goes with this. We get Asuma's death, the introduction of Hidan and Kakuzu, Naruto training and developing the Rasen Shuriken, and Naruto versus Kakuzu, and he used the Rasen Shuriken for the first ever time. All really cool stuff. Like Shikamaru pretty much takes the front lead in this arc, and he's amazing. So in part one, Shikamaru was already one of my favorites. I just like the fact that he didn't give a damn about what was going on. He just wanted to chill out and just be lazy. And you find out he's just a super genius. But here, I mean, we could just see him like go just wild and out. Like after Asuma dies, he just wants to just go on this mission against Hidan, and I mean, he develops the most like elaborate, foolproof, badass plan to take out Hidan, and even like wears down Kakuzu. It's just awesome, just completely awesome. And this is even where we get the introduction of like how chakra natures work, where we get like the counter system, like water beats fire, fire beats wind, stuff like that, which is really cool. And just the change in chakra nature and the change in chakra shape, combining that to the Rasen Shuriken, all really cool. Now, the reason why it's in C tier is because, I mean, to be honest, as villains, like Kakuzu and Hidan are pretty one note. Like the most badass thing about Hidan is the fact that he's immortal, right? That's really cool. Now, like Kakuzu, he's even more boring because he's just like, oh, I'm like angry, I guess. I'm angry guy. And what's really cool about him is that he fought the first Hokage, but we don't know jack shit about that. So he could have gotten his ass beat. He could have actually fought him. Like, who knows? I'm sure like maybe a data book out there or something has more on that. But I mean, they're really lackluster as villains, and I know like Kakuzu's purpose was to be like that physical wall for Naruto to overcome so he can catch up to Sasuke. But I think they could have made him a little bit more elaborate and nuanced than they did. But, that's really why I'd say I put this in C tier. So Next we got Itachi Pursuit Mission. So really, this is just like Sasuke versus Deidara, and like the elite village looking for Sasuke. This is cool. You know, Deidara is definitely a better villain than it than like Hidan and Kakuzu, but I don't know, like it was just fine, you know. Like the fight was cool, but that's all there really is to it. There wasn't too much like story and development stuff to go through. Uh, so I definitely put this in C tier. I mean, Data's fight was really fucking cool. Like him blowing himself up, just like Sasuke didn't even really beat him, and like Data didn't even really lose. He just rage quit. He just got so mad he rage quit and blew himself up. So like that was really cool. But that's really it. I'd say it's good D tier. As you can see, there really isn't anything in D tier because I don't really think any arc is necessarily bad. I think there's just average, and then we go up to S tier, and that's just peak fiction right there. So next, I'll go with Fated Battle Between Brothers, A tier. Itachi versus Sasuke, one of the best fights in the series. Again, like probably top 5 favorite fights, my opinion. And they're just like in context of just that arc itself. Let's not talk about like when Sasuke finds out about Itachi's past later, but the emotion there. I mean, we've been building up to this fight since literally the beginning of the series, where Sasuke says he wants to kill a certain someone. We find out it's his brother. Just all the emotion there, the Genjutsu battles, the seeing the Susanoo for the first time, seeing Kirin, all of that was just phenomenal. I don't. That's one of these things where like it's make or break. If it doesn't go 100%, it's a fail. And if it succeeds hard. And it definitely succeeded where it needed to. So this definitely goes in A tier. The reason why it doesn't go in S tier is because it's really just the fights, and I think that I would put certain moments and certain stories that have more weight to it above this. So next is Tale of the Dryad the Gallant. Dryad versus Pain. I mean, we get Jiraiya's backstory with, you know, him teaching Nagato, Yahiko, and Conan. This is where we really get like our big introduction to Pain. Amazing fight. You can argue whether or not if Jiraiya actually knew about Pain's secret, he could have won. But you know, seeing the way how Jiraiya's journey has gone, where he's looking for the savior, was really cool. You know, he thought it was Minato, he thought it was Nagato, he thought it was Naruto, and then he finally, in his last moments, doubles down on Naruto being the world's savior, the child of prophecy, and that was really cool. The emotion was just all there, and that's really all you needed for this was, did you care about Jiraiya? And I think everyone who watched this fight cared about Jiraiya and was sad he was gone. And I think that certifies this an A tier. Next arc, I mean, come on. You know where this is going. Pain of Soul arc. That's there. Pain of Soul arc is my favorite arc in all of Naruto. It's kind of, I think some people say maybe this could have been the ending of Naruto. Obviously, that doesn't work because there's several plot points that needed to stay. But yeah, I think that Pain versus Naruto is just everything you should ever want and need in a fight in anime. Like, it's the perfect display of an antagonist versus a protagonist. Because it's not just a battle of might, it's a battle of philosophy. So like we get, you know, Pain, I mean, the cycle of hatred, man. Like even if you haven't watched Naruto, you know about the cycle of hatred to someone. You know about like this world's done open, and just seeing Pain essentially use Talk no Jutsu on Naruto and just philosophically destroy him, and not just philosophically destroy him, but take him down, pin him down. For what we thought in the moment, we thought he killed Hinata, and he blew up the entire damn village. With that Kakashi was dead. Tsunade was out of action. You really felt desperate. You really felt that Naruto needed to win. And in that moment where he loses, not just the battle of the mind, but the battle of the body, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, and him going berserk and Naruto finally meeting Minato was great. Pain's backstory is just, I mean, I, I can't really you can't put into words just how amazing it is. Like, he tried, Nagato tried his damnedest to be good, tried his damnedest to change the world, and just the world just kept fucking him over and over and over again. And you really just can't, you can't really hate. I mean, you can hate the actions he took later on when he became Pain, but you can't not you have to sympathize with what he went through. And seeing him in the end when his conversation with Naruto ends, realize the error of his ways, and it's done in a natural way. I know some people don't like Talk no Jutsu, but this is probably the best display of it. And it's done well, and he might not completely redeem himself, but he does one good final action, and brings everyone in the village back to life. And Naruto, the ending of it, where Naruto is celebrated by the entire village, what a perfect way to just end the arc. I mean, this really just like cemented like Naruto's arc, where he goes from like this outcast who's hated by everybody to now he's loved by literally everyone in the village. I mean, shit, like if Tsunade wasn't Hokage, he very well could have become Hokage at the moment. Now, next, and we got the Five Kage Summit. Debating on whether I want to put this in A or B. I'll put it in B for right now. But I mean, we get the introduction to the other three, I guess, Kage. Anoki, the Raikage A, and the Mizukage, and all really cool. I think Anoki's my favorite just because he has particle style. So, the fights are lit. I mean, Raikage versus Sasuke, Anoki, blitzing Sasuke and almost killing him with particle style was cool. Obito being there to like save Sasuke the entire time and use him as like an attack dog was great. The peak fight here obviously is like Sasuke versus Danzo. Because I mean, everyone hated Danzo. Like, if you don't fucking hate Danzo, something's wrong with you. Like, I think everybody who watched this series just wanted him to die immediately. And even though Sasuke was becoming more and more evil, I think you could sympathize with him enough for the moment where like, yeah, no, kill Danzo, please. So really cool, and like it ends with, the death of Danzo and Naruto and Sasuke meeting up again. Sakura. Actually, you know what? I'm putting this in B tier. This is not going A tier. And I'll tell you why. Sakura, the reason why Sakura is keeping this from being on A tier is because of what she does in this arc. I mean, I can't get over the fact that she manipulated and kind of gaslighted Naruto into stop going after Sasuke. I mean, she knew for a fact he was not going to go after Sasuke. He wasn't going to stop going after Sasuke. But like the fact that she like tried to manipulate him by telling him that she loved him and she prefers him over Sasuke and he doesn't want him going after Sasuke anymore is like such bullshit. Like, I don't understand how Kishimoto. I don't know what was going on. I know like he said he can't like write women well, or girls, but that that was bad, man. That made Sakura really terrible in my opinion. And just like I get, she loved Sasuke, so it's hard for her to like try and kill him. But we got it like twice, right? We're like, she's considering it. And she's like, oh no, I don't know if I can do it. And then like she can't kill Karin, and she tries to kill Sasuke, but she doesn't do it because he was gonna kill her unless Kakashi saved her. And then she tries again, and it nearly gets Naruto killed in the process. She really just she didn't ruin the arc. Don't get me wrong, she did not ruin the arc, but she definitely hampered on it a bit, and I think that keeps it from going any. Um, Now as you can see, there's 3 spots on here for the fourth grade ninja war. I'm gonna put only one of them on here because uh they're divided into 3, and honestly I think that's a little too much. I'm gonna put the fourth grade ninja war in S tier. Now I know this is probably a hot take, but let's just look at it, right? A lot of the peak moments for me happen in the fourth grade ninja war. So to begin, we have. Ooh, I don't even know where to begin. Okay, like Kushina and Naruto meet, right? That's my favorite moment of Naruto. Is Naruto meeting his mother. It was well earned, and it was executed beautifully. I can't. I'll be honest with you. Every time I watch that scene, I get teary eyed. Like it's it's probably like the emotional peak for me in the entire series. Uh, and then we get, ooh, the Allied Shinobi forces and Gara being the leader, great. Modern, everything modern. His backstory, goaded. Modern's introduction, probably the best introduction in the entire series. Just him folding the entire Shinobi force. Uh, Amazing. Obito, finding out who Obito actually was. Like he was the masked man. Amazing. Obito's like reason for hating the ninja world and wanting to go with the infinite Tsukiyomi. Amazing. Uh, his backstory is just awesome. Seeing the backstory behind the Nine Tails attack is great. Killer Bee. Now I watched in sub. I don't know what to tell you about the dub, but Killer Bee is awesome. Uh, Itachi versus Obito, phenomenal. Whew. Uh, Naruto getting like the Nine Tails transformation where him and Kurama finally bond. Awesome. Naruto and Sasuke teaming up again. Just whew, I'm gonna keep going on. Like it's just too damn good. And Mike, this is just the war. We can talk about Kaguya and we can talk about the Ten Tails in a second. But I think the war is really underrated. And I think it's because of the fact that, first of all, it's extremely long. I do agree on that. But also, I think people tie Kaguya way too much to the war arc. And I definitely think people should go back and, try and think about what they think about it right before Kaguya. And know that Kaguya is not the end of the series. I know a lot of people say, oh, Kaguya ruined the ending of Naruto. She's not really the ending. She's like she's the lead up to the ending, I guess you could say. You can say, oh, well, the war arc is too, but she's like, I say she's like her own separate thing, to be honest. Now, next we have the birth of the Ten Tails. Put this in B tier. I think. So with this, I think part of this, okay, we can go with, like Ten Tails Obito, um, Ten Tails Madara, and everything before Kaguya. But I guess like after, like Kakashi and Obito. So like when Naruto and Sasuke get the 6 past powers. Now this is a controversial moment because this is where we find out that Naruto and Sasuke are the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura. That's primarily why I probably not put this in A tier. Um, I think it doesn't ruin Naruto's character for me. I know a lot of people, in hindsight, are like, "Oh, he's not an underdog," or "Oh, he had a destiny and he was." No, Naruto formed his own destiny. Like I think there's plenty of videos out there on this that Neji was wrong about Naruto and all these other things. I don't think that this really ruined his character too much. I do think it's a little too late. This was introduced way too late into the series. I mean, we're pretty much at the end, and we're getting like this shit, like whoa. And I think that was a little too much. But their transformations were cool. The other thing, 8 gate guy, like guy using the 8 gates against Madara. Poof. I mean, part of me is like, this fight is fucking amazing, and the other part of me is like, oh no, a guy's gonna die, and I'm not here for that. But that was awesome, and seeing like Guy's backstory kind of hit that Rock Lee level of feels, man. Now, okay, last final arc, Kaguya strikes. Now, I guess this includes, hmm, uh, this includes Naruto versus Sasuke, I guess, in the ending of the series. So if we include this, I'm going to put this in A tier. The reason I'm going to put this in A tier is because this is Kaguya, and this is Naruto versus Sasuke. Naruto versus Sasuke, I guess not round two, the final fight. My favorite fight in the series. I think it's either tied with Naruto versus Pain, or they're like 1 and 2. They're pretty close. Um, just because that's what this entire series has been culminating to, was Naruto finally trying his last stand against Sasuke to bring him back to the village. And I mean, the anime. Remember, we're talking about the anime here, so the animation was just top tier. The big heavy level jutsu, great. The Nine-Tails transformation with Susanoo, seeing like a massive Kirin, seeing them just make a giant thunderstorm was cool. And but really the peak was like the hand-to-hand fight in the combat, and just the brutality of it. You could feel the weight of their punches, and just knowing what they've all gone through. Like, if you're not sold on this fight, then like, I'm sorry, you should have stopped a while ago, because it's just amazing. Like, if this was just Naruto versus Sasuke as the final part, in its own arc, I'd put this in S tier. But Kaguya as a villain, she's a nothing burger. Like, let's be honest, she doesn't really have a personality. She's like, oh, I'm after chakra. And even Boruto, like I've seen like the first like 65 episodes of Boruto, and I've caught like some episodes here and there, but they don't really expand much on Kaguya herself. And besides, like, she was afraid of Momoshiki, and that's why she wanted the army. But she's pretty bland, and like Zetsu being behind everything, it's fine. You can argue there's some teases here and there, but like, they were kind of nothing. Like, it was just like getting to see Team 7 fight again. Kakashi using the Susanoo was fucking amazing. I mean, I keep saying stuff was amazing, but I mean, like, it was just crazy to see all that. And I think Kaguya isn't as bad as people think she is. I definitely think like she didn't ruin the war. I think it was a little bit of a downgrade because we went from Madara to her. You can't, like, Madara was the perfect final villain. So I get it. I get why like people are upset, but I don't know. And there's the whole thing with like bringing in aliens and stuff. But overall, I think it was great. Um, that's our list. Let me know what you think about the Naruto arcs and what your tier list would be in the comments down below. This has been the Devil's Arrow, and if you enjoyed this video, Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day, guys.